Do you guys remember when MAGA was absolutely frothing at the mouth, rabid after Charlie Kirk was killed? Anybody who dared to say, like, it's okay if you're not super upset when a person who's caused a lot of harm passes away. People daring to get on social media and say things like, I'm not sad. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Murder shouldn't happen. The person who did it should be arrested and prosecuted, but also, like, I'm not obligated to grieve. MAGA fucking came for those people, doxed folks, got people fired from their jobs. I got death threats several times a day for several days after I made 2 videos where I basically was like, you know what, it's okay if your feelings are complicated when something like this happens. If somebody who has caused a tremendous amount of harm is no longer able to cause that harm, it's actually okay if you feel a sense of relief. It's okay if you're not sad. You don't have to feel sad and you don't have to feel aggrieved when somebody who has harmed you in your community is no longer here. You can still be outraged at the fact that somebody's life was taken. You can still be outraged about murder, but you don't have to go through this like bizarre public mourning ritual that MAGA Donald Trump, remember when they paraded his casket, right? Used him in that way. This bizarre grieving ritual that they wanted, a mourning ritual that they wanted the entire American populace to go through. It's okay if you didn't want to participate in that. Because I said that, I got death, like the most graphic death threats. Yes, I did file an FBI report for every single one of them. But, you know, the FBI is being run by a conspiracy theory podcast bro who likely lied under oath to Congress. So, you know, I'm not the only one by any means. And the Trump regime, Republicans especially, stoked political violence, right? We all understand that they used Charlie Kirk's murder, which is why there's a bunch of conspiracy theories now swirling around Erica Kirk and TPUSA and the Trump regime. But, you know, we know what those conspiracy theories are. Don't want to, like, give credence to them, but I understand why they're there because, gosh, his death was really politically convenient for the Republicans. It was really something that they could leverage to whip up political violence and to try and paint this false narrative that America is entirely divided, that we're a nation at war, that there's a civil war basically happening in this country, because there's nothing that Stephen Miller and Donald Trump would love better than for there to be an actual civil war in the United States. They want us to be divided. The Epstein class wants the working class divided at each other's teeth, willing to threaten, get each other fired, dox each other, rather than realizing that we have a shared oppressor and it's the super rich. Right? Remember when that happened not that long ago? I do think it's amazing how they couldn't maintain that kind of level of fervor and momentum. And interesting. That's a topic for another video. Why it is that TPUSA couldn't hold the kind of passion or stoke the kind of civil war that MAGA was that the Trump regime was hoping for. Anyway, okay. The point of this video, I'm getting there, y'all. So when all of this was going down and people were being threatened and fired, there was a story from just north of here in Battleground, Washington. Now, I used to live in Vancouver. I have friends who live in Battleground. For those of you who are not from the Portland metro area, I think a lot of people envision the Pacific Northwest as like this pinko socialist. You can either say haven or hellhole, depending on your politics, but that's simply not true. If you leave the urban centers, the metro areas in both Washington and Oregon, it very, very quickly gets very, very, very red. Even just like driving from Portland, and I live in East Portland, so like just a little bit east of me, like Sandy, it's very different than Portland. Just a little bit north of me in Vancouver, which people, you know, call Vantucky, people call it the Couve. Politics extremely, like there's this cultural divide, and I say that as somebody who used to live in Vancouver, and I was like, no, Portland, Vancouver metro area, it's all, no, though subculture is very, very different, and when you get more rural, you get up to Battleground, even more different. So there was this story from Battleground where a teacher was let go from her job after a student accused her of calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi. So 5 months ago, Battleground schools let go Amanda Gonzalez, a teacher in their school district, because one student said that she had called Charlie Kirk a Nazi. She immediately denied it, said, I did not do this. That same day, September 10th, that Charlie Kirk was killed and the student made this accusation, district officials immediately put her on leave. She says that the claim that she called Charlie Kirk a Nazi immediately went viral. I guess this kid texted it around to people. It went all over the place. She was receiving death threats. She had to seek out therapy. It was a really bad scene for her. So Gonzalez has vehemently denied that she ever said this. From day one, she was like, I didn't say this. I didn't do this at all. And I don't understand actually why a teacher or anybody should be fired from their job for saying that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi, or placed on permanent leave, unpaid leave from their job for saying that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. Have you listened to the clips of the things that he said? But the absolute, again, like frothing at the mouth, rabid MAGA at the time. If you said anything that was not like weeping in sackcloth and ashes, despondent over the loss of a social media influencer, a boy, an adult man, not a boy, an adult man in his 30s who went to go debate teenagers on college campuses. If you were not appropriately demonstrating mourning, like they were coming for you back in September. What Gonzalez actually said that day is that she told a student in the hall thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk's family. But this student claimed she said that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. It got spread around. It went really viral. The school district, based on that one unfounded claim, which she vehemently denied, placed her on leave. But guess what just happened? Not just happened, it's been unfolding for the last 5 weeks. The student recanted his claim. He admitted that he lied. So Gonzalez was fighting for her job, and at an appeals hearing on January 3rd, the hearing officer ruled in favor of Gonzalez because the student lied, made it up, and the district placed her on leave because of one child's lie. That's how unhinged all of this panic, all of this moral panic over Charlie Kirk's death and how you were supposed to respond to it played out. This woman lost her job because a kid lied. And on January 23rd, the hearing officer ruled she's entitled to get her job back at battleground schools. But here's where the story takes a turn, because that was January 23rd. It's been more than a month. The school district doesn't want to bring her back. In fact, they've not given her job back at all. They're trying to offer her a financial package to make her go away, right? They want to give her temporary benefits as if she were resigning from her job. She said, they're trying to buy me out in such a way that I would lose my medical benefits and income for something that I didn't do. I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, I'd like to play you a clip really quickly of Gonzalez being interviewed by the local news just a couple of days ago, so you can hear in her own words exactly what she has to say about this incident.
I didn't do this. I didn't do it. I didn't say this.
Half a year has gone by since Battleground High School teacher Amanda Gonzalez stepped foot inside a classroom. Gonzalez, who's worked at the high school for more than 10 years, was let go after a student claimed she made a negative comment after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in September. The mother of the student posted about the alleged exchange with Gonzalez on social media. By the end of the school day, Gonzalez was put on administrative leave. 20 days later, she was fired. The backlash was swift. Gonzalez was targeted online and forced to take out a protective order for her safety.
It broke me. There's no other way to put it. That was a Wednesday. By Friday, I had been to the doctor and put on anxiety medication. I was not sleeping. I was not eating. My daughter found me curled up on the couch crying, saying, I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
Gonzalez appealed the decision to terminate her. She says a third-party investigation took place and the student later admitted to lying about what Gonzalez said. On January 23rd, a third-party hearing officer ruled she should be reunited with her students.
I'm still at home. They've made some offers to buy me out, but I want my job back.
Fox 12 reached out to the school district on Friday regarding Gonzalez. They said they were unable to provide any information regarding the matter.
Maybe think for a minute before you make comments, because there is a live, living human being on the other side of that.
Now, thankfully, Ms. Gonzalez is still fighting for her job, and thankfully she has union representation. The BGEA union president, Mary Mendoza Hansel, said of what's happening right now, it's disheartening to hear that the district is not taking what the judge said seriously. She noted that Gonzalez doesn't want settlement money. She wants her job back. As of the time I'm filming this, there's no response from the school district. They're not making a statement. They've not reinstated her. She did nothing wrong. 1, I'm so sorry that Ms. Gonzalez had to go through this. 2, I hope she gets her job back. But 3, I think that this story really highlights how hard Republicans are trying to stoke division and political violence in this country. Literally splitting communities apart, turning neighbor against neighbor, students against teacher, parents against teachers. This is exactly the example of what Donald Trump's America is like: hate and division, people wanting to destroy each other's lives. For what? For what? Who does it benefit? Who does all of this trauma and violence and cruelty benefit? By the way, if you'd like to call battleground schools and very kindly, politely ask them when they're going to comply with the order of the hearing officer and give Ms. Gonzalez her job back,